Here to give the command to start engines for the INDY NXT by Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Todd Stepp of Steps Towing.
Drivers, start your engines!
Always good just to let it breathe a little bit and take a look at the race cars, and let's see the drivers that will be piloting these machines. The champion last year in Indy Pro 2000 was scholarship budget. Louis Foster is just 19 years old. We knew he'd be good. Charlie, I think he surprised some people winning the pole yesterday.
He did indeed, but he's made his mark early. Jacob Abel was quickest in practice on Friday. And that second-year driver with his family-run Abel Motorsports team is showing some strength this year.
Jacob Abel has been impressive in each session. Row number 2, we talked about Rasmussen, one of the returning race winners, and Rasmus Lind is really talented. A lot of sports car experience. He's in his best situation that he's had.
A couple of Danish drivers there on row 2. Christian Rasmussen moving from the Andretti Autosport team over to HMD, last year's champion.
In row number 3, 2 of the HMD drivers, both with different affiliations. Kiffin Simpson, you'll see in the American Legion car, Ridgeline Lubricants. He is associated with Chip Ganassi Racing. And Nolan Siegel, just 18 years old, has been very quick in his young career. He's got a lot of laps. Row 4.
Daniel Frost comes back for year 3 with HMD, his second year with HMD in that number 68. A very distinctive orange and white car that we saw last year. Race winner, looking for more this year. Reese Gold on the outside of row 4, another rookie back with the Junkos Hollinger team, coming back into Indy NXT.
Matteo Nannini is only 19 years old from Junkos Hollinger Racing, making the step to America in Indy NXT. And Josh Green is now 20, college student, making the move up to the top development step before IndyCar.
And Ahmed there inside of row 6 with the development team, Cape Motorsports, stepping up to Indy NXT, coming back into the Indy NXT series this year. Outside of row 6, Hunter McElroy, we talked about his problems in practice 1. He'll be looking for a strong charge throughout this race to the front.
And remember, McElroy was in position to win last year as well, so he's been looking forward to this race for a full year. Jagger Jones, he is the grandson of Parnelli Jones, the son of PJ Jones. He takes a big step up. 1 year of Formula Car racing. He was in USF 2000 last year. He won a race and finished 4th. He moves up to 1 step below IndyCar, and Colin Kaminsky gives Jacob Abel a teammate. Colin Kaminsky has a lot of experience in USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000, which is now USF Pro 2000.
And Josh Pearson inside of row 8, stepping up this year as a rookie. James Rowe outside of row 8, coming in, and then Ernie Francis Jr. inside of row 9 with that HMD with Force Indy car. Jamie Chadwick, the only female in the field this year, running that distinctive DHL colors outside of row 9, and Christian Bogle lining up at the back of the field.
All right, let's get to Kimball's Keys.
It's a new era, new tires. These guys aren't exactly sure what those Firestone tires are going to do throughout the course of the race, but it's a big field. There's a lot to happen. The Concrete Canyons, the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, it's going to produce some great racing all year, but coming up to the green of race 1.
19 cars. They are all legit. It is wide open this year. Final corner of this Concrete Canyon. A new era is set to begin. Indy NXT is now. We are green from St. Pete. Louis Foster on the inside, driver's right, is going to go down to defend. Rasmussen going to take a look around the outside. He's moved up to 2nd, side by side. Foster is going to keep the advantage. They'll go 2 and 3 wide through there, and so far, all is clean through this very treacherous portion of the course.
And turn 3 has caught a lot of drivers in both Indy NXT and IndyCar out. There's contact on the run down to turn 4. There's missing a front wing. We'll see if any other contact happens because of that. I think that's Inam Ahmed in the 47 car for Cape Motorsports.
Somebody definitely has damage. Let's see if it's more than one.
I think that's Reese Gold, maybe a flat tire from that contact from Ahmed.
Nannini looked like he was really slow holding up the pack, or is it Gold? The two Hugo's Hollinger racing cars are very similar.
It's Reese Gold there with that ticket attorney on the side of the car.
And now he's going to have to lock up there, and he is going to just have to, he's going to get fortunate the yellow comes out here, and he can limp back to pit lane and see if it is a quick fix.
It's looked like to me contact from Inam Ahmed to that right rear Firestone tire going down for Reese Gold. I think we're going to get another look at it. You know, when all these cars, 19 drivers, these guys are all stacked on top of each other. Coming out of turn 3, Ahmed's got a great run. Look how sideways they are. Reese Gold goes to defend. Ahmed's there. Looks like he tries to get on the brakes, contact. Looks like Gold squeezed him. Ahmed, you know, these two rookies running over each other down to turn 4, lap 1 of race 1.
It looks like the Gold just wasn't quite clear. And it's also damaged Inam Ahmed's car, 23-year-old from London. Also races under the Pakistani flag. The Cape Motorsports crew, they're also making the jump from USF 2000, another championship last year. And Hugo's Hollinger is back in the top step. Georgia.
Reese Gold making his way down pit lane. I got a chance to catch up with him actually a little bit earlier this weekend, and he said he found himself driving a bit under the limit when trying to find that balance of that Indy NXT car. So I think what we're seeing is a product of him actually overdriving this car, making mistakes because of that, and trying to find that balance. And a little fun fact about the new Indy NXT driver, he's actually a pilot as well. He flew himself here in his own plane, so a pilot of many types of vehicles.
That seems to be a trend with racing drivers. We've always seen that. You guys like to go fast. You kind of have a better chance of doing that well than the rest of us.
I'm in the process myself, so it is very consistent with racing drivers learning to fly.
All right, let's take a look at this track here on the west coast of Central Florida.
It's really unique because it's a mix of an airport, we were just talking about planes, and a typical street circuit. Turn 1, you come all the way down this long, wide straightaway, and then you end up between these concrete K-walls through the rest of the lap. As you come in, it's a big break, best passing opportunity right here on that runway, and then you peel off into typically a taxiway as you come through turn 2, turn 3. They've repaved from 3 to 4. Typically new paving is faster, but that turn 4 braking area has caught drivers out all weekend long. Heavy braking, another good passing opportunity for running over each other. And then you come around down that marina, you know, that Monaco of Florida here with the big yachts lined up, big heavy brakes, bumpy as well. Street circuits always provide a challenge with the bumps of a typical road.
We shortcut you a little bit on some keys, so let's revisit Kimball's keys and some of the key things you're watching for.
Well, I think it's already shown that with this new era, these new tires, we don't exactly know what we're going to get. As the race develops here, as we get into this 45-lap event, we're going to start to see those Firestone tires change. Maybe some drivers start to lose the front tires. The car doesn't want to turn. Some guys start to lose traction, spin the rear tires up. You know, that full field with 19 cars. We haven't had this many cars since 2009 when I was driving back in Indy NXT. And they trip over each other. There are a lot of rookies this year. We'll see on this restart if they end up having contact and come into tears again.
Biggest movers on those few corners of green. Ernie Francis Jr. picked up 4 spots. Jagger Jones, Colin Kaminsky, Jamie Chadwick all picked up 3. Christian Bogle moved up a couple with the 2 drivers moving through pit lane as well. So let's try again. Louis Foster held off the charge last time. Rasmussen is now second. That's Abel in the red and white car running third. Kiffin Simpson is fourth. We're green again. Indy NXT by Firestone from the streets of St. Petersburg. Abel has a little bit of run. He's going to try to go to the outside of Rasmussen for second. Foster has cleared everyone. Daniel Frost coming up the inside there. Little bit of a touch with the 10 car of Rasmus Lind.
Going side by side through 2 and 3. That is very tough. If they get through Clayton, Jagger Jones in that mix as well. Everyone's spreading out looking for clean air to get some braking onto those wings. Inside Colin Kaminsky on the 98 of Jagger Jones. Into the tires for Jagger Jones and Jamie Chadwick. The 28 car joins him.
Nowhere to go. Chadwick coming around the outside.
Yeah, I seen it.
Push to pass doesn't work. Like, what the hell?
And you can see that's Jagger Jones speaking right there.
With these cars, there is overtake available, this push to pass. As we get another look at it, looks like Colin Kaminsky gets a good run out of 3, goes up the inside, leans in, Jagger Jones squeezes him, gets in the marbles and just slides into the tires, doesn't quite back out enough. Jamie Chadwick, nowhere to go. She had a line of cars on the inside, nowhere to go but into the back of Jagger Jones. Everyone bouncing off the curbs and each other to start today.
Rough way to go to get going for Jagger Jones. He's just looking for laps, and Jagger, understandably, this is a steep learning curve, jumping up from USF 2000 with 1 year of Formula Car experience. A lot of karting experience, but then he went the stock car route, decided, all right, I'm going to give it a go in open wheel racing, and did really well last year. And testing, as you might expect, new team, new driver, is taking a little bit of time to get up the speed charts. He actually had a lap taken away yesterday, but at one point he was mid-pack. In qualifying, to qualify 13th, I thought was good.
With a name like Jones, he definitely has the genetics on how to drive a race car fast around a racetrack.
And then unfortunate for Jamie Chadwick, maybe a chance that the nose can be replaced and she can continue. So we'll keep an eye on that. She is going to be able to drive it back to the pits. Down to Georgia.
Inam Ahmed out of the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. And Inam, can you give us perspective on the incident with you and Reese Gold?
Yeah, well, we made up a few positions at the start. I was fighting at the time with Gold. I think we were 8th or something, and he was 7th. Came out of turn 3. He messed up, got alongside him, and frankly, he was driving like an idiot. And I was next to him, and he completely right-hand down me into the wall, destroyed the right-hand side of my car, and then also he took himself out in the process. I mean, when you're driving cars like this and you're doing 170, 180 mile an hour, and someone's next to you, and there's a concrete wall to the right, you can't just right-hand down them like you can in a Formula 4 car and expect them to move out the way. It's a fucking idiot from that point of view. So I'm a bit annoyed, frankly, and because the Cape guys did a very good job all weekend and we were fast, and I think he's just a sore loser. He didn't want to see me go past him, frankly, so that was it.
You told me earlier this weekend, no matter what, you're living the American dream over here with Cape Motorsports. Can you talk about that opportunity?
Well, yeah, I came to America last year, finished 3rd in Indy Pro 2000, and I came here to be a racing driver in the US, and I'm very proud to come here and to be given the opportunity. And I never experienced opportunities like there is like in America, and I never seen a country like America, because I like the people here a lot, because they don't care where you come from, what you look like. If you do a good job, they support you. I never seen that anywhere else in the world.
It's an unfortunate ending to Inam Ahmed's day, but he is grateful overall. Charlie, Kevin.
This is the only sport where athletes have a mic in their face moments after something goes wrong. That said, apologies. Apologies for the language.
And, you know, I see that incident just a little differently than Inam did. There was room for him to continue to move over. Yes, I think Reese Gold, they shared that responsibility for sure. I think it was maybe a little heavier on Reese Gold because he moved in reaction. The rules here in the IndyCar Sanction Series, both the NTT IndyCar and Indy NXT by Firestone, a block is when you move in reaction. Defending, you can move preemptively, but being able to move in reaction is something the stewards frown upon. Reese Gold moved in reaction to that move by Ahmed.
Our onboard is on the Smart Motors Stelrect Andretti Autosport car of Hunter McElray. He was starting much further back than he wanted. He's starting to make some progress. Let's go back and take a look at this last restart and how McElray picked up a couple of positions, Charlie.
And he goes inside to Francis. You can hear him spotter
Still
in
on
the
your
air.
left, still on your left, clear.
And he used that curve. Oh, Colin Kaminsky in front, bounces off the wall, gets away with it, and pushes Matteo Nannini out wide. Hunter McElray says, thank you very much, I'll take that spot as well. And look at Jagger Jones in the wall. He's able to slide past. I wonder if Colin Kaminsky has any lingering damage on the right side of that 57 Able Motorsports car, that yellow and black Slick Clock sponsored car. From that looked like a significant hit on the wall. You can see the white walls on the tires. Wonder if he comes into pit lane to get that car checked out.
And certainly if he didn't, he might be tiptoeing a little bit when this restart goes to make sure that the car is okay. Good news to report, Jamie Chadwick is still on the lead lap lap, I think, or did
Yes,
she
she is, because she's coming into pit lane. The team did a really smart thing, and they left her out so she could pack up to the back of the group running behind the pace car and didn't bring her into pit lane right away. They left her out. That's the experience of a power team like Andretti Autosport, like HMD. I think Georgia's down there as they change the nose on that 28 car. Georgia?
And you hit it right on the nose there, Charlie. Jamie Chadwick in pit lane, changing the front nose. She's calling for her crew. It seems like to fasten her belts a little bit tighter, so might have gotten jostled around there. Definitely moving with the belts. So they're going to get her fastened in, and it seems like once that is completed, she will be taking off to rejoin the field.
I wonder if she didn't think that car was going to be able to get out of the tires and she undid her belts. Or loosened them off to start to get out of the car.
That makes sense.
But now the pace car is just coming into turn 10. She has plenty of time here to be able to get out, stay on the lead lap. They're getting ready to go green, so she's got some ground to make up before this race gets back underway.
So what she most needs is another yellow to be able to bunch back up.
You know, there's still 17 cars on track. That's double what we had last year. There is the opportunity for that to happen.
We are told the incidents between the 57, an incident between the 57 of Kaminsky and the 98 of Jagger Jones is under review. All right, let's try again. We've started, we've restarted. We'll try one more time. Foster, Rasmussen, Abel, Simpson, Siegel, the top 5. Going again, Indy NXT by Firestone from St. Pete. This time they're single file. Looking to the inside a little further back. Now Rasmussen tries to go to the outside. That's going to open the window for Jacob Abel. And he might get 2 for 1. Jacob Abel to the front.
What a move by Jacob Abel, sliding down the inside, taking both spots from Louis Foster and Christian Rasmussen. That's a veteran move by the driver in his second year in Indy NXT.
It's been a one-car team for much of the time. Now he's got a teammate, and he's leading a race. One step below IndyCar, side by side further back. Siegel, Simpson. Siegel wins that battle in the green and black car.
Trying to go too wide into turn 8. It's hairy. These guys are pushing for every inch of the racetrack all the way through that turn 8-9. Look at Jacob Abel, great run out of turn 9. We'll see if he can keep the tires under him, keep that gap back to Louis Foster. Daniel Frost thinking about a move on Kiffin Simpson, pulling back in line. I hope we get another view of that restart, because that 2 for 1 pass, you can see coming down. Christian Rasmussen looks to the inside. Foster goes to defend. They both slide wide. Jacob Abel sideways says, thank you very much, I'll take 2.
Battle for 5th a little further back. Kiffin Simpson is going to get a spot on Daniel Frost. Frost in that white and orange car is going to come back. Can you go side by side through there? They're going to try it. Frost prevails.
And I think that's Josh Pearson behind saying, oh, I'll try and take that spot next. Into turn 4, side by side.
Josh Green in the 3 car gets a position there. The 10 car, that's Rasmus Lind. Garage XYZ on the side of that car.
Colin Kaminsky still pushing hard in that second Abel Motorsports car, obviously not suffering any damage or not too much that's affecting the speed from that wall brush. And Hunter McElroy saying, you guys keep tripping over each other. I'll be here to pick up the pieces when I can.
He's trying, but he's only picked up 2 spots. McElroy, a championship contender, running 10th right now.
You know, that's the difference when you have 19 cars on the grid instead of 9. You make a small mistake, and instead of 6th, 7th, or 8th points, you're talking about 15th, 17th, 19th points.
Jacob Abel, Abel Construction. Look at the gap he has built on Louis Foster and Christian Rasmussen. Nolan Siegel, black and green. Frost, orange and white. Josh Green has done a nice job moving forward from 10th to get up to 6th. Then Simpson, Lind, Kaminsky, McElroy round out the top 10. By the way, no action will be taken on the incident between the 57 and the 98. Colin Kaminsky and Jagger Jones. Incident between the 99 and 75 is under review. That's the Nini and Francis.
These guys all trying to figure out what they've got underneath them as far as a car and grip, and if those Firestone tires are going to start to change under them, how that grip develops, front, rear, traction, turning. and all the while worrying about what's in their mirrors and what's out their visor.
The 99 and 75 incident has been adjudicated. Simply, Ernie Francis Jr. was given the spot back, so he is in front of Matteo Nini. All good. Let's check in with Georgia.
Well, as Abel leads the 18-car field now, some of these drivers are knocking off the rust a little bit, this being the first race of the Indy NXT series. But Abel's been busy during this offseason. He traveled to New Zealand. He was there for 5 weeks, and he did 15 races in 5 weeks over there in Formula cars. So he was staying busy. He was staying sharp, and he's putting that to the test right now as he continues that gap over the field.
I would say that extra track time and basically enough 3-car has really paid some dividends for him.
He came in here and looked strong all weekend. He led practice 1 on the time charts, and that's showing. He's able to come in, he's getting out front. Once he has clean air, he's got the pace to start pulling away from that Andretti Autosport 26 car of Louis Foster.
These shots are awesome.
You have no idea how fast it feels in the car when you're blasting past concrete walls at 150, 170 miles an hour. And then you stand on the brakes and you're bouncing over concrete patches and manhole covers. That chicane looks easy, but let me tell you, these drivers' hands are full keeping those cars underneath them the whole way through that right-left section at the end of the lap.
The battle for 4th and 5th right there. Siegel and Frost. Frost looks like he's closing a little bit. Josh Green behind him, white and some pink on his car.
And Hunter McElroy is enjoying this because he's back in 10th, but this line of car starts all the way up at 4th. Big lockup for Daniel Frost. I thought he was going to slide right into that whole group of cars in front of him.
Ernie Francis running in 11th position right now. He has made up 6 spots from his starting position. Georgia has more.
Yeah, I got a chance to catch up with Ernie Francis Jr. a little bit earlier this weekend, now his 2nd season in the Indy NXT series, and I got to talk to him about some of his strengths he learned in 2022.
I think biggest strength over the 2022 season was in my races. You know, I was able to kind of keep the car on track the whole time, finish all the races, and just win the race of attrition where other guys would fall off or wreck or crash out, and we would seem to work out and gain places that way, and it helped out throughout the season. So I think if we can put that together with some more speed this year with this new partnership, I think we'll be set to be having a pretty competitive season.
Looking at lap times, and Ernie just turned one under 1:08, which is only 4/10 off of what the leaders are doing, and is right on pace with, actually quicker than some of those that are ahead of him. So you might say, well, wait a minute, I thought he was supposed to make progress. He's still running in 11th. Well, there's more cars, and frankly, there's a little stronger competition this year. We're going to find out who's good this season in Indy NXT.
And I think that's a really interesting perspective for these young drivers, because with a deeper field, chasing the championship, Christian Rasmussen said absolutely the only goal this year is to win the championship. So for him, it's not just about winning every race or winning a race to keep his name in front of the NTT IndyCar team owners. It's about consistency. Ernie Francis talked about that. Maybe qualifying wasn't his greatest trait last year, but he moved forward in the races. He finished races, and he took advantage of that experience and is applying it to this year's pace. I mean, last year, Hunter McElroy won a couple races, was on track to win here until a mistake caught him out, and he's running back in 10th.
Jacob Abel leading by 2.5 seconds. He finished last season strong. He was 8th in the championship, but top 5 in each of the last 3 races, and he's carried that momentum over. Let's listen to some of his team communication.
The race is going to shorten by 2 laps. Let's reduce our push to pass to 2 seconds a lap.
So that's all about race management. There is a limited amount of time that they can use that push to pass. They get extra horsepower, but you can't use it nonstop. If you ask a driver, we just put a piece of tape on that button and it would always be on. But by rule, it's limited to the amount of time you can use it. So they're coaching Jacob Abel on how much to use that push to pass each lap based on how many laps are left, so that not only can he pull out a gap and gap Louis Foster and Christian Rasmussen, the rest of the podium behind him, but make sure he's got something to fight with if there's another yellow and it bunches up for a restart.
By the way, that's not official yet, but they're probably right. They're doing the estimation, so it's 45 laps or 55 minutes. And with the time already lost with the yellows, probably looking at it. So at some point, that will become official from race control, but probably not until we get to the midpoint or so. All right, let's talk more about the team that many people have been talking about all off-season. Can it work with 9 cars in one series? Georgia has more.
Well, I caught up with AJ Smith, team manager of that team, about what it's taken to get that team ready for 9-car action on the racetrack. And he said, well, there's been a lot of restructuring and a big emphasis on having everything alike, which they've had to work towards. But they've restructured the way the team works as well. So AJ Smith, team manager of that, then it goes down in a little bit of a hierarchy to 2 crew chiefs in charge of 4 cars apiece, 1 in charge of 5. Then it goes to 7 car chiefs, with those 2 crew chiefs also manning the cars as well. 9 front-end team members, 9 tire guys, 6 truck drivers. And you just think about everything that goes into this. They're rebuilding carts, they're building cars, and this team is coming together one by one. The drivers as well, getting used to it as well, but the biggest thing that's coming out of that for them, the data they're collecting. They now have 9 drivers, 9 engineers to work with that data and get the team to where it needs to be.
And Georgia's right, that data is so critical. If they can make those 9 teams and 84 crew members and 16 truck drivers work all together, they will have a big advantage over everyone else in the field. They've got more than double the cars of the next biggest team. That means more than double the data. So as they figure out these new tires, these Firestone tires, having those 9 data points will pay off. The other thing you have is 9 young, hungry drivers, their partners, and their families, all to negotiate as well.
And that's what I joked with AJ Smith about the other day. Chatted with him for a while on Friday. He said, I have no doubt. I said, you could do this, but you've got 9 sets of parents to keep happy. So that's somebody else's job. We were very adamant, he said, that we went through meticulously each car in the offseason. They are all exactly the same. No one has anything that someone else does not have. We have a full spare built up. We have access to a second spare. Most teams at this level probably don't have that. Now, if 3 crash in a week in Major League, you're going to have some issues, but it is a fascinating experiment, and you're certainly going to have a lot of data. And here's what I would say about it. You know the cars are going to be good, so I'd be happy with that. That's a good spot to be.
Yeah, Hunter McElroy taking that spot away from Colin Kaminsky, that second Able Motorsports car coming out of turn 3. Colin Kaminsky defends to the inside. Hunter McElroy says, okay, I'll just let you slide wide. I'll take the spot through turn 5.
Well done.
That's experience. Colin Kaminsky has limited open wheel experience. Hunter McElroy won races here in Indy NXT last year, so he's using that. Just being patient. This is not the Hunter McElroy we saw last year where he was so busy. Let's take a ride with Hunter for a lap here at the Firestone Grand Prix in St. Petersburg, down this long runway, big heavy brake zone. You'll see as he comes through and transitions, that grip changes. Look how much his hands are moving, how busy his hands are through turn 2. This is the new pavement that's rough and slippery. Look at that bump at the apex. He's chasing the back of the car, moves out around some manhole covers, gets into the brake zone, drops into this canyon. This parking lot is slow, the slowest part of the racetrack. It's narrow, it's rough. This is real easy to catch a wall on the inside, put you into the outside wall. We've seen it in every series this weekend. Got to get a good exit out of turn 9 all the way down here to turn 10. This little kink's flat out. Another heavy braking spot, really rough again. Watch how much his hands move as he goes through the corner, chasing the car. This is my favorite corner on the racetrack. This fast right, fast left chicane coming out, big horseshoe, all the way back onto the runway. Kind of a short distance, just over a minute, minute 6, minute 7 lap time here at St. Pete, but plenty to do.
Did you see that? Did he change the mirror?
He either reached out and changed the mirror or pulled a tear off his visor, because with this halo, unlike the Indy car, they don't have the aero screen. So they get dirt, rubber, oil, bugs onto their visor, and they're little thin pieces of plastic that you tear off to clear up your vision during the course of the race.
That makes more sense. Well, we talked about it is a new era. It's INDY NXT by Firestone. So that means these top step development drivers, one step from IndyCar, are on the same tires, essentially, that they would race, hopefully, next year in IndyCar. Georgia has more.
A new era indeed, Kevin, and I have Lisa Boggs, Director of Development at Bridgestone. And Lisa, can you give us a little bit more insight on the involvement of Firestone with INDY NXT?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me on. Thanks to all the fans that are watching and supporting INDY NXT by Firestone. So we've been in the series and have always found it really important to work with the drivers as they come up the ladder. So we had an opportunity to get back in, and we raised our hand and said we'd love to put some Firestone Firehawk race tires on the INDY NXT cars. For us, it's important from a technology standpoint. It's really important for the drivers. That way, if they get up to the big series, they've driven on our rubber, they understand the tires, how we operate. And really for us, you know, racing's in our DNA. IndyCar racing for over 100 years. So we're really proud and honored to work with everybody that's just trying to get these guys a chance. And gals, great to see Jamie out here. So for us, it's been, you know, it's a labor of love, and we're just really excited about it.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for your time.
And Kevin, when I raced in this series, the development series that led into my decade career at IndyCar, I ran on Firestone Firehawk rubber. Lisa Boggs, a huge champion for motorsports, for the open-wheeled series here in the U.S., the NTT IndyCar series, and it's great to see them back here in INDY NXT by Firestone. I think the ability for these drivers to run on Firestone Firehawk race tires before moving up to the NTT IndyCar series only shortens that learning curve, and so talent here will show and be able to show their talent when they step up to those big cars.
So with a new tire, new learning this year. Yes, there's been testing, but most of it has been at Homestead, a track that really eats up tires. So it's a lot of unknowns. So who manages the tires the best over the length? And maybe Louis Foster is doing it a little bit. Did Jacob Abel use up some to get to the front? That gap is shrinking, and it's just over a second now.
And the beautiful thing for Louis Foster is he had no experience on the Cooper tires from last year. He had no experience to change or learn a new normal. He's just driven the car with Firestone Firehawks on it.
In this series.
In this series.
Yeah, he would have driven Coopers in Pro, but different car.
Coming into a different car. All he knows is this rubber. Jacob Abel, having run all last year, is having to teach himself how to manage the Firestone rubber during the course of this race. You know, I think Louis Foster, at one point it was nearly a 3-second gap between first and second. Now it's under a second, so I think he's got the bit between his teeth, and Jacob Abel might be having to keep an eye on his mirrors and his finger on that push-to-pass button to defend a little bit more.
You know, I think what Louis Foster did last year, coming over from the UK with no experience on these tracks, coming in and winning immediately and winning that championship, has opened a lot of eyes, because I've noticed many more coming over from the UK, one step below INDY NXT. Drivers from FIA F2, F3, the British F3 runner-up, all running in that series saying, hey, Louis Foster did it, because he came in with a lot of success over there. He was second in the Euro Formula Open Championship in 21, third in British F3 with 3 wins in 2020. Super impressive last year, and he is coming. He is going to be in position to challenge Jacob Abel in a matter of a few laps. Meanwhile, let's check in on Jamie Chadwick, who unfortunately had nowhere to go early on in this event, but was able to stay on the lead lap. What she needs now is a caution to bunch things up, but regardless, she's getting experience.
This is what she needs. She needs laps and laps and laps, and she's still on the lead lap. She's got about a quarter of a lap behind her until the leader, Jacob Abel, so she's got plenty of space to grow into learning this INDY NXT by Firestone car.
Georgia.
Well, Jamie Chadwick excited about her new chapter in her career with Andretti Autosport, but more importantly, embracing that experience, and we got to catch up with her about that.
I think a little bit hard to know what my expectations are this early, but you know, I want to obviously go well. I want to be as competitive as possible, and I think just learn as much as I can. Being here at St. Pete, there's a lot of new things for me, so just embrace it, learn it, enjoy it, and yeah, see how we go.
and I think it's fair to temper expectations. I know Jamie is very well known. She had a national television campaign in America. She dominated the W Championship, but this is a step up for her this year. So I think it's fair for all of us to give her some time to acclimate to this series and this level of racing.
And she has great teammates to learn from. Louis Foster running in second, one of her teammates. Hunter McElroy, one of the returning points leaders from last year. All great teammates for her to be able to get the data out of and learn what it's going to take to go fast. Oh no, James Rowe.
Power, no power, no power.
Lost power in the Top Con Strong Roots car.
For the knobs pointed to the 12 o'clock position. Make sure you go up and down a gear, and if you have to, cycle power.
And that's the Andretti Autosport team coming over the radio, troubleshooting and trying to diagnose where the lack of power is coming from, resetting the knobs and the toggles for the electronics, the engine management system. And if you had to, he said a power cycle where you get the car to neutral, you turn the power off, you turn it up back on, and just like any good IT professional, the first piece of advice is, have you tried turning it off and turning back on again?
Control-Alt-Delete, then just turn it all the way off and back on. Well, hopefully that can get sorted for James Rowe Jr. and he can continue to get
Rasmus Lind with contact in turn one, pushing Kevin Simpson wide, and Hunter McElroy trying to take advantage, too wide in turn three. Rasmus Lind, they both made it through safely. Whoa. From our position here on the front straight, I saw that Rasmus Lind send it up the inside of Kevin Simpson. And Hunter McElroy, maybe discretion, the better part of valor, saying, okay, I'll take the one spot and then I'll take the second spot from the rookie when I can.
And Simpson is still right there, so that's a four-car battle. Let's go back and see this again into turn one just a moment ago.
That is a long ways back for Rasmus Lind. Locks up the right front Firestone into turn one. Kevin Simpson turns in, bounces off the 10 car. Hunter McElroy takes the one spot, tries to get the second spot. We go on board, you can see that lockup. He says, okay, I'll just go down the inside. I'll get close. Oh, it's sliding around as they go through two.
You know what I would say there? That was really smart by Hunter McElroy, because I think in a lot of cases someone would say, they're in peril, I'm taking this spot, but this is not for the win for Hunter McElroy. Maybe you do that for the win, but would you agree? You don't do that for 6 or 7.
This is a new Hunter McElroy. Last year, the red mist would have come down, he'd have gotten the bit between his teeth, and he would have gone after that position. This year, and it ended in tears more than once last year with that attitude. This year, just like it took willpower to the IndyCar Championship last year with a little more calmness in the car, seeing that driving from Hunter McElroy, that could lead to a championship run.
And would you say whether that's for 6th or 7th or for the lead, because you're thinking scholarship and championship, is that generally the smart play to avoid it at this point in the race?
Well, the other thing about having 19 cars in the field is if he ends up in the wall, instead of getting 9th place points, he's getting 17th place points.
You got to finish this year.
And that's a bigger deficit and a bigger detriment than what he had last year.
Back down to pit lane in Georgia.
Well, someone making big moves out there, that's Rasmus Lind, who actually has an interesting story on his road to Indy NXT. He actually signed with NXT in 2020, but it was canceled because of COVID. So once things got back rolling, he did sports car racing for 2 years and found opportunities there. But the ultimate goal was to get back to Indy NXT. So, and he actually tested with HMD in 2019. So they've had a long-standing relationship from the past. In a sports car racing, he was racing LMP3 cars. So something that he's working on right now is just getting used and getting up to speed with this car. There's more downforce than an LMP3 car. There's more brakes, and it's just a little bit more sensitive. But it seems like he's figuring it out. Currently running 7th.
Rasmus Lind's really talented, and he's been talented in whatever car he is in. He just missed winning the Pro 2000 championship a few years ago, as Georgia mentioned, was set to run at this level. When it was canceled, has had some one-off opportunities, but he's got a great opportunity. He's found a great partner in Garage XYZ, and he's with a strong program, one of the 9 HMD Motorsports affiliated cars. And unfortunately, it looks like it is going to be day done for James Rowe Jr.
Yeah, James Rowe climbing out of the car. We go full course yellow. We got a crash in turn 10. Oh, no. Josh Pearson and Reese Gold into the tires. That's what Jamie Chadwick needs. That's not what Jacob Abel wanted.
It is not. Disadvantages some. helps others. So Gold is able to drive away. Pearson has bigger problems. What happened?
Oh, he just locked up in turn 10, slid into the tire barrier. I don't know how Reese Gold joined that accident and joined that yellow. Reese Gold able to reverse out and get out of the runoff, but Josh Pearson's day is done. The right front wadded up there, folded back towards the chassis at the exit of turn 10.
So maybe no damage from Gold. Maybe he just ran wide and saw he was out of road and got it stopped. But unfortunately for the just recently turned 16-year-old, the youngest ever to race in the Rolex 24, the youngest ever to win at Le Mans. He's already won in LMP2 in the World Endurance Championship, which is the series that races at Le Mans. Josh Pearson has had a lot of laps. He may be 16, but he's been driving something since he was about 3. And he's been in cars since he was 12 or 13.
One of the things I was thinking is as we got towards lap 30 to lap 40, it's going to be really interesting as these drivers' fitness comes into play. It is hot out there. It is humid. It is overcast. The wind is not blowing like it was. These drivers, we don't get air conditioning in a race car. They get hot. That fire suit. We'll see how many of these drivers have put the work necessary in to be able to go full bore for the whole race distance.
So no official change to a timed race at this point. That's kind of what's being anticipated, but still not official, so we'll continue with the lap count. Right now, 55 minutes is the time to finish this one. By the way, the advantage, Jacob Abel had started to gap a little bit and he had recovered. It was up to almost 1.2 seconds at the time of the yellow, so that fully goes away. Now, while it hurts him, he loses that 1 second lead. If there was significant tire degradation, does that help him that it takes some laps off the tires?
I think it does, and I think for Jacob Abel, he just didn't want to see a restart. But for Louis Foster and Christian Rasmussen, they're thinking restart is a great opportunity. They have the chance to get a good launch off that last corner, make a move into turn 1, and steal a win here.
Let's look at the rookies who are running up front. You've got Louis Foster in second, Nolan Siegel in fourth, Josh Green in 6th, Kiffin Simpson in 9th, Colin Kaminsky in 10th. Those in the top 10. Who has not won a race in this series? Abel, Foster, Siegel, Green, Lind, Simpson, and Kaminsky in the top 10.
So there are a lot of guys aiming for positions. I think you might see inside that top 10, you might see Hunter McElroy make that move, get his elbows out a little bit. Like I said early on, his weekend started with a bang when he hit the wall at the exit of turn 3 in practice 1. The team did a great job to get him out for a couple of laps in practice 2. Qualifying, he didn't get the speed he wanted out of the car. Now he's up to 8th. He's got a couple of rookies up the field in front of him. I think he'll get his elbows out and try and go for a couple of good spots here on the restart.
Let's hear some communication to the leader, Jacob Abel.
Use these laps to think about a restart strategy. Obviously, we need to get a really good exit out of there. Whatever you need to do to be able to get the jump if you want to start going on the entry to the last corner.
Good intel, good intel. All right, let's find out more what is going on down on pit lane with Georgia.
Well, I have Don Lambert, team manager, Andretti Autosport with me. And Don, something that's standing out right now, Louis Foster's performance. It's his first ever race in an Indy NXT car. Are you pleased with what you're seeing right now?
Yeah, he's done a really good job so far. I mean, he's holding his pace. He's just biding his time, and you know, with the Firestone tires, we're all in a whole new situation this year. So we just have to kind of wait, and you know, hopefully the last 10 laps they can all fight for the win.
What's your assessment so far on the Firestones?
They've all been pretty good so far. I mean, we were able to have a couple tests and everybody get a good idea of what we have. And when we got here, it seemed to be fine. So.
What was the planning and strategy like over the off season? Gaining new drivers, some switching. What's that been like?
Well, I mean, as you know, for the end of last year, we were able to do a few tests, but those were obviously on Coopers. And then when we finally got the Firestones, then it was full bore, everything what the whole team could do just to run those and all the data that we could get. And I think it's worked out really well.
Well, thank you, Don. Thank you for your time. Guys.
By the way, I want to welcome all of our friends watching live in the UK on Sky Sports F1. Great to have you on board.
That's
for
fantastic.
a new era beginning. Indy NXT by Firestone.
Especially with that British driver running in P2, looking for a way past Jacob Abel for the win. And Don Lambert talked about the unknown of what these Firestone tires are going to do throughout a race distance. And, you know, as John Wesley Powell headed into the Grand Canyon, he said, you know, into the great unknown. They're not in the Grand Canyon, they're in the concrete canyon of St. Petersburg today, but it's still unknown what these tires are going to do at the end of this race.
Making your way through turns 2 and 3 seem pretty unknown to me and very challenging, and they're going to have to do it one more time. Past turn 10 towards turn 11, getting all bunched up. Jacob Abel trying to win for the first time. Louis Foster trying to win on debut. Christian Rasmussen thought he could win the championship maybe last year. This year, that's the only goal. He's right there. Might be the final restart. Might become a timed race. How much time to go? Going to be tough to get to 45 laps. Let's wind him up one more time again. Indy NXT by Firestone. Jacob Abel, that red and white car, leads them back to the green. Foster trying to draft him. Rasmussen, that black car, looking for a gap. And don't forget about Nolan Siegel back there in fourth. Foster the first to make the move. Rasmussen trying the outside. Further back, a dive down. Side by side. Lind, Green. They make it through.
Louis Foster lost a couple of spots, defended, slid wide. Christian Rasmussen's experience showing there.
Oh.
Louis Foster's got a problem, maybe. Looks like the left rear's got damage for Louis Foster. Hunter McElroy. Oh, he hit the wall out of turn 3. Hunter McElroy getting shoved wide. You can't go 2 and 3 wide through there, gentlemen.
Foster now at this point is just trying to stay out of the way, to limp back. And Jamie Chadwick is in the tires. She had gotten the caution she needed to get bunched back up with the field. It's still green for the moment, but they'll give Chadwick a few seconds to see if she can back her way out. If not, they'll have to go caution again. She's in turn 4. They'll be there in about, half a minute or so. And now it is yellow. Caution again, number 3. From the streets of St. Pete. And what a job again by Jacob Abel, holding off the charging pack behind him.
What a great restart for Jacob Abel. The composure to be able to get that restart. I think we'll get a replay of Louis Foster. He comes through, he's 3rd, 4th in line there, slides out in the marbles. You can see the marbles, hits with that left rear at the exit of turn 3. Come right at the camera, sliding, just gets offline, pushed wide as they go through turn 2. Hunter McElroy coming into turn 4 here. He's got Matteo Nannini on the outside. They're trying to deal with the slow car up ahead, disrupting the rhythm. Nannini goes by, Francis goes by. Oh, that's so frustrating.
So remember, Foster restarted 2nd. Tried to defend. Rasmussen in the black car going around the outside. Oh, and then he
does the over-under.
Yeah.
And then Nolan Siegel takes advantage as well and slides right past him.
Well, the guy who enjoyed that the most is in that red and white Abel construction car up front, Jacob Abel. So they're trying to repair Louis Foster's car, and why that matters
toe link on the left rear. That
is just to get back out, you could score a couple of points.
Louis Foster in pit lane, along with Jamie Chadwick as well, making suspension changes to the rear end of Foster's car, where Chadwick is going to join the field again, now with a blue nose wing as well. So lots of changes going down here in the Andretti Autosport pit.
That is James Rowe's front wing. They are going to go green next time by. They've still got almost a full lap, so they're coming by the front stretch through turns 2 and 3. Could you tell what they were doing?
Yeah, the mechanics were changing that left rear toe link. That adjusts how much the rear tires are kicked in or out. When he hit the wall, the back of the tire bends that piece of metal that holds it in place. It would have kicked the toe out, made the car undrivable, and that bend could potentially fail. So coming in, trying to change that. It's the one piece of suspension, the front and rear toe links, that typically you can change in pit lane and only go down a lap or two. You know, these big teams, they've got all the parts, they've got the tools, they're doing everything they can to get Louis Foster back out and keep building his experience.
So Jacob Abel will have to hold off Christian Rasmussen this time, with now Nolan Siegel in third, Daniel Frost, Rasmus Lind, Kiffin Simpson, Josh Green, Matteo Nannini, Ernie Francis Jr. up to 9th. Hunter McElroy has not been able to make his way forward. Started 12th. He is in 10th right now. 22-year-old student from Louisville at Butler University in Indianapolis. Jacob Abel has won in Formula Cars. In F3, he has not won aligned with IndyCar. What a way to do it if he could open up a 2023 championship challenge by winning in the newly rebranded Indy NXT by Firestone. Jacob Abel back to green, but Rasmussen is right there. He's going to have a run going into turn 1. Abel will try to defend. Rasmussen swinging wide. They're side by side into 1. Rasmussen going to try to send it. Abel hangs on, goes wide, wiggles, and to the front. Nolan Siegel takes over from 3rd.
What a move by Nolan Siegel. Says thank you very much. Exit stage left by the front 2 cars. Daniel Frost says I'll take that as well. 3 wide down into turn 4.
Josh Green sent it. Did he go wide? Did he make it 3? He did not. And he's going to stack them up behind.
That's going to bring out another full course yellow.
Nannini and Simpson collected in that with Josh Green. We could see him going wide, and I didn't see how the radius was going to work. Caution again.
These drivers are not used to having this many cars on track. It's definitely a street fight when you've got a race with 19 young, hungry drivers running the Indy NXT Series here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Is this a portend of what's to come in the NTT IndyCar Series? There are 27 Indy cars around this racetrack.
Exactly.
It may look very similar this afternoon.
Now, they're a little more experienced, but this is a talented group. But there's a lot of anticipation to start a season. Let's see it again.
Jacob Abel did not get the restart he wanted, defends, gets it woed down, but pushes Christian Rasmussen wide, but isn't able to stay on the grip. Look at how sideways. I can't believe Abel didn't spin. Nolan Siegel says thank you very much. Daniel Frost slides through to 2nd. Look at that opposite lock. Jacob Abel was lucky he didn't spin and back into the wall there.
Lind in that white 10 car looking for a path through. He is 5th right now. Here's the green incident. Nannini and Kiffin Simpson, no opportunity.
I think Green just lost it.
Jamie Chadwick did get out of the tires, and she's still running. And she is, though, a lap down, by the way.
But she's back up to 13th. We go on board here. And I think a little further up the line, he just spins. Josh Green just spins and collects those 2 cars. And Hunter McElroy says, okay, I'll take those spots back. He's back running in 7th now.
Big potential points for someone that is, championship is the plan this year for Hunter McElroy, along with a few others. Georgia.
Well, Nolan Siegel capitalizing over Rasmussen and Abel there, but when I talked to him earlier this weekend, he said this is probably not something that drivers want to hear from him, but he loves these street courses. And actually, the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg is one of his favorite events of the year. He captured that USF Pro 2000 win last year, and that's making this step for him a little less intimidating. And let's not forget, he's already had a stellar weekend already. 2nd in P1, 1st in P2, and he's got that confidence boost going into the season, which we're seeing play out over that aggressive move over Rasmussen and Abel.
And there you see it officially is now a timed race, Georgia. We are under 6 minutes remaining. So depending on how soon we can restart will determine whether we're looking at 1, 2, maybe 3 laps remaining.
We'll see if on this restart Jacob Abel's able to take advantage, just like he felt maybe a little bit mugged on that restart by Christian Rasmussen and slid back to 3rd and 4th with those 2 cars and Nolan Siegel, Daniel Frost. Maybe they do the same thing and he's able to learn from that, slide through and get back to the top step of the podium.
By the way, Daniel Frost has won before. He won on the road course at Indianapolis last year in this series. Christian Rasmussen has also won. He won a couple of times last year. He won championships in USF 2000, what is now USF Pro 2000, and contended, especially the second half of the season last year. So Rasmussen is one of those that's thinking championship this year. And for Nolan Siegel, he's 18 years old. He won last year for the first time moving up in the IndyCar development ladder. He's got high-level sports car experience now. A lot of laps in the car. Seems to be a very mature young man. Meanwhile, we're hearing Rasmus Lind is going to be sent to the back. So the incident with Josh Green under review. What are you seeing here, Charlie?
It's hard to tell. Just a nudge that's going to send Rasmus Lind to the back. I think that might be from the previous restart or the previous incident there between Rasmus Lind and Josh Green. Really interesting. You know, these young drivers, they have to learn the rules, and the rules are a little different under an IndyCar sanction with Indy NXT here. You know, very similar to the NTT IndyCar Series. It's what they should expect when they move up to the big cars. But some of these drivers coming out of USF 2000, US Pro 2000, it's a little different. So they have to figure out where that line is between drawing a penalty and doing what they can to get to the front.
There's the car of Matteo Nannini on the hook, one of the Hukos Hollinger Racing cars, back up at this level. So with the reshuffle, look who is running in fifth. Ernie Francis Jr., year number 2 in this series, year number 2 in high level. Yes, he had a year in F3, but these are high level formula cars, and it is going well for Francis. We're gonna go green this time.
And with just under 3 minutes on the clock, I would expect about 2, maybe 3 laps to get to the checkered flag here. It's gonna be so much about this restart.
Best finish, by the way, last year for Ernie Francis Jr. was 7th, and it came in the opener at St. Petersburg. So what do we have here? 2 laps, I think, is what we're looking at with 2.5 minutes to go. Nolan Siegel, Daniel Frost, Jacob Abel, Christian Rasmussen, Ernie Francis Jr., Hanno McElrea, who was hard into the wall in the opening moments of the weekend, is in position for a top 5. Restarts in 6. Let's go again from St. Pete. Siegel with a good jump. Frost has experience. He has the race win. He's coming. Francis Jr. is going to try to defend his position. Siegel also trying to defend. Rasmussen sending it. He's going to try to get the spot on Abel. Runs wide. Abel's going to come back and hang on to it. Meanwhile, Frost swings around the outside. Daniel Frost to the lead.
Siegel ran wide under the brakes. Daniel Frost says, thank you very much. We'll see if Jacob Abel's got an opportunity to go by that rookie and Nolan Siegel and get back, chase down Daniel Frost. They were 3 wide headed into turn 4. Colin Kaminsky, Christian Bogle into the tires, Jamie Chadwick down the runoff in turn 4. It's all happening in turn 4 today.
So if he can get going, so we see Kaminsky is able to drive out. If Bogle can back out, we might still see the white flag lap and finish under green. It's all up to whether Bogle can get it. Otherwise, they might be racing for the finish right now. Abel trying to get second position on Siegel. Frost has pulled ahead just a little bit.
We'll see if Jacob Abel gets a run out of that turn 14 down into the turn 1 where all the passes, all the action has started today, and it's all come to tears in 4.
I think Bogle is rolling. We are going to stay green. White flag. 1 more to go. Look at the gap that Daniel Frost has pulled out, looking for win number 2. Abel trying to get a spot back on Nolan Siegel. Rasmussen is still there, and McElrea has recovered. He's running 5th.
It's a great recovery for Hanno McElrea, who's looking to put together a championship season this year, letting it all come to him. We'll see if it comes to tears in turn 4. Abel didn't get a great run. Rasmussen not making a move. Pretty steady there through 5 and 6. Nolan Siegel doing a great job absorbing the pressure of Jacob Abel here.
This is not done yet for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And while Frost is gapping, you still got to bring it home.
Jacob
Frost.
Abel, great run out of 9, coming down to turn 10. Daniel Frost pulling out 2 seconds. He's got to get it home. Jacob Abel not looking into turn 10.
Siegel holds on to that position. Meanwhile, just a couple of more corners to go for the 21-year-old from Singapore, who now lives in Florida. Miami is the home of Daniel Frost. Back on the airport runway at Albert Whitten Airport, Daniel Frost has opened up a new era. He is the first winner in Indy NXT by Firestone. Siegel maintains the position. He's second. Abel on the podium as well.
If this is any indication of the Indy NXT by Firestone races this year's going to be a lot of fun.
That race was awesome. I say that as someone not repairing cars, but as a fan, there was all you wanted in this one.
There were a lot of guys learning, sliding past, trying to defend, and realizing there wasn't enough grip to break on the inside, sliding wide, giving up spots. I mean, that was great racing. These guys sure learned a lot.
Did you see who was in the tent there congratulating last year's champion, Linus Lundqvist, who is working with HMD Motorsports? Well, there was a lot going on in this one.
Sure was. Rasmus Lindh recovers to the top 10. Kiffin Simpson ended up in 10th. And it was a little bit about survival, but up front, it was all about being smart and making the moves when you could. Daniel Frost took advantage of all that chaos and just kept going forward.
From 7th to 1st, getting his second career win in this series, Ernie Francis Jr. picked up 11 spots to finish a career best 6th in the HMD with Force Indy entry. Well done. And while Nolan Siegel might be a bit disappointed that he didn't win, he had a chance at it. That was a fantastic debut in this series. That was really well done by Nolan Siegel. And I would say the same thing. I know Jacob Abel had a chance to win the race. They've made major progress with that program this year, and they appear to be very, very legit.
I think people were surprised when he was quickest in practice with the Abel Motorsports car for Jacob Abel. But they've continued to progress over the winter. He continued to progress, going down to New Zealand and running in that series, getting the experience to be faster and faster every time he got in the car. You know, that 51 car may be a force to be reckoned with all year long.
Here's a note. This is only the 3rd race since 2019 that has had 4 different leaders. The Indy GP, the first half of the doubleheader last year did, and then you go back to one of those wild Freedom 100s in 2019 on the oval that had 4 different leaders.
And the Indy GP last year was affected by rain, and the Freedom 100 on the oval. You know, this is a true battle where we've had a lot of different race winners. There were no outside factors, and on an oval you expect to see cars up front and going backwards, but what a great job by Daniel Frost to bide his time, take the spots, and get the win.
Here's how they finished up. Unofficial results. Frost the winner. A lot of happy campers, some a little more frustrated, but always much to discuss before the series next up heads to Barber Motorsports Park.
Nolan Siegel on the podium, Jacob Abel rounding that out. I think Hunter McElroy is going to be happy with 5th. Qualifying 12th, moving up to the top 5. Ernie Francis in 6th did a great job. Some of these incidents having affected drivers, and
so the Denjet car is in victory lane. Daniel Frost set to unstrap and climb out in a moment. And Georgia Henneberry is there to greet the first winner in Indy NXT by Firestone.
The helmet is off. He talks with his crew. Daniel Frost, a winner again now in the newly rebranded Indy NXT series. The hat goes on, smiles all around, and he's going to give us a celebration that I'm sure he's been planning for a long time now. A 2-time winner in the series, and he's out of the car. Daniel will join me here after a well-deserved celebration. And I'll meet him on this side of the car, and the Firestone Firehawk, of course. Daniel, you were so patient. You were so meticulous. Walk us through that pass for the lead, and how did you get it done?
Oh my God. Well, I kind of planned it out that, you know, everyone else was shooting in and going wide, so, you know, I try to take a different approach and go up the inside and get a switchback. It's been working for me all race, so I might as well do the same thing, and it paid out. So, yeah, #1 to the end, so it's perfect.
How does this one feel?
You know, I couldn't believe it at the end. Like, I was still driving until the checker, and then as soon as I passed the checker, I was like, okay, now we've won. So it feels amazing. So thank you for HMD, thank you Danger, thank you everyone for helping me. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Celebrations all around for Daniel Frost as he captures his 2nd win in the newly rebranded Indy NXT Series.
Well done to Daniel Frost. He is in that group of several that should legitimately think, I can win the championship this year. Job done, weekend 1. And here's how it looks. Never too early to look at championship and something with a scholarship on the line.
And those championship points look very similar, if not identical, to the race results with only 1 race under their belts. But it's nice to go into the next race looking into the top half, the top 5 of the championship. Then you're not digging yourself out of a hole all year long.
And I'd say really important, too, since there's a little bit of time before the next race. Back to Georgia.
Nolan Siegel coming home 2nd today in his debut in the Indy NXT Series, though not capturing that win. How proud of you are you of that efforts from you and your team?
Oh, I'm really proud of the effort. I think, you know, again, starting from 6th, this is not an easy place to pass, and we were hoping for as good a recovery as we could get, and obviously, you know, that win would have been the best recovery, but I think this is really strong performance, and the HMD car was amazing, engineering was on point, everything really came together, and we just missed out on it that tiny little bit on that last restart. So, you know, a little disappointed, but really overall, if I came into this weekend and, you know, said I thought I would be finishing 2nd, I would be lying. So
Nolan Siegel comes home 2nd, and Jacob Abel is rounding out your top 3, and we're going to get a chance to catch up with him just in a moment.
That's a good perspective from Nolan Siegel. Yes, you maybe had a chance to win, but coming into the weekend, you take 2nd.
After that interview, I think I would be, I'd be nervous if I was the other drivers looking at how quick he was on his debut.
So as mentioned, there's a little bit of time for the next Indy NXT by Firestone event with IndyCar at Barber Motorsports Park, April 30th. Last weekend in April, there was a lot going on today. Unfortunately, on debut did not go well for the return to the series for Cape Motorsports and Hunkos Hollinger Racing. It went very well for HMD. It went well at times for Andretti, and we've got a lot of storylines. For Georgia Hannaberry, Charlie Kimball, I'm Kevin Lee. Congratulations, Daniel Frost wins in St. Petersburg.